And I do think that the real answer to this, as far as I can see, is cryptocurrency, because it is the best performing asset in the world and of all time. And so I think that's the one thing we can lean in. It has a huge future in the exponential age. Technology investing is the other one. You know, there are incredible companies doing incredible things, and we're doing stupid things like, yeah, but it's already a 2 trillion company. Well, think of the world I was being talking about. Is there no reason somebody's not going to be 20 trillion, 50 trillion? Of course. Some of these companies are going to be bigger than sovereigns. So you need to get your head around everything has changed. It's really hard for value stocks and small companies and minor gold miners or whatever the past world looked like to succeed in this new world. It's just not going to work.
Welcome, investors. Today we are delving into the latest macro framework from Raoul Pal, and it is a profound paradigm shift that moves beyond simple market cycles. He begins by diagnosing the core disease of the modern financial system, the everything code. This is the endless cycle of currency debasement required to service unpayable debts, creating a brutal 11% annual hurdle rate for any investor just to maintain their purchasing power. Pal argues this has created an unwinnable trap for both young investors and retiring baby boomers. But this familiar debasement narrative is now colliding with a far more powerful, disruptive force he calls the Exponential Age, a technological tsunami led by AI that is set to completely rewrite the rules of our economic reality.
Subscribe to Daily Bitcoin Trends for expert insights, real-time market updates, and proven crypto strategies. No hype, just smart analysis to help you make better decisions in crypto.
You see, my journey, as you know, had been from democratizing financial intelligence and helping people in their financial journey once trust broke down with the institutions and the system itself after 2008 and 2012 in Europe. That was the birth of Real Vision. The idea was to educate people in that. As I moved forwards, I started realizing the profound effects of the retirement crisis, this baby boom generation, the fact that assets are driven further and further out of most people's reach, and that there was a young cohort and an old cohort that was really going to face a lot of problems. I talked for the young cohort about how cryptocurrency, this was back in 2016, was going to be one of the answers to get them out of this trap. And the baby boomers had more complexities around how they were going to evolve and survive around this situation. You know, I've talked a lot about the rise of digital assets. And then I brought in, obviously, the everything code thesis of how debasement is driving a lot of this. And this is our enemy, an 8% debasement a year, plus let's say a 3% inflation rate. We've got an 11% hurdle rate on our investments, which the S&P 500 doesn't even do. So we have to be very careful in how we protect our wealth or create wealth. This is part of this how to your future idea. That's based on all of these premises. But there's something much bigger that wraps the whole lot together, and that's the theory of the exponential age. You see, the everything code will just keep repeating ad infinitum, where we just have to keep debasing currency to try and offset the debt payments because GDP growth is not fast enough. So GDP is kind of the economic cash flow that pays for the debts. If GDP growth is low, interest rates need to be low, which is why the Fed are going to cut and all of those kind of things. But also, as GDP growth goes lower, debt growth keeps ballooning, and you have to keep refinancing all of this debt because there's not enough growth to grow your way out of the debt-based economy. But things started changing at the margin, and it really accelerated over COVID. Firstly, Amazon, I think, now employs more robots than it does humans. And this is a trend I've been pointing out for some time. Humans are cheaper replaced by robots that are more productive. They don't complain, they don't have unions, and over time, they're much, much cheaper. So the rise of the robots is just starting. We're seeing Tesla with its Optimus robot. We're seeing Figure. We're seeing Boston Dynamics. We're seeing a whole bunch of robotics companies. So humanoid robots really start to replace humans because they have dexterity. So they don't have to be for single tasks, much like machine learning was for single tasks and AI is much broader. We're going to see multitasking robots. So that starts helping bolster the lack of humans in the population. But the robots will take longer to scale. Physical hardware, you have to manufacture it, or you have to design it. We're still at early stage of this. So yes, we will see Tesla robots and others coming into, let's say, factories, but in our houses, It's probably 10, 15 years away, but it's coming. Now, the big lever here is AI. AI is basically infinite human knowledge. Now, why the magic formula works is because we've charged for and created an economic system around scarcity of labor and scarcity of knowledge.
The centerpiece of Pal's thesis is the dawn of the exponential age, driven by the convergence of robotics and, most critically, artificial intelligence. He argues that AI represents infinite human knowledge, and its primary economic function will be to destroy the principle of scarcity upon which our entire system is built. Scarcity of labor and scarcity of knowledge. In this new world of impending abundance, Pal identifies only two viable secular bull markets: technology itself and blockchain. He makes the urgent, stark prediction that we have a 6-year window to act. This is a limited, critical period for investors to use the existing financial system to aggressively allocate capital to these two trends, effectively investing in the very forces that will dismantle the old world to build a financial lifeboat for the new one.
So the end of this decade, this journey from here to now is knowable. We know that the everything code is at play. That allows assets to go up due to debasement. We know that tomorrow will be more digital than today. The exponential age told us that, and is provably so. Therefore, invest in the only two secular bull markets that exist right now, which is technology itself and blockchain technology. Blockchain has been the fastest adoption of any asset class in history. It was the fastest growth of any technology in all human history, but AI is now outpacing it. So we have to invest in these things. I kind of think of it as investing in our demise as we transition to a new economic system. There's almost nothing that can get in the way of this transition because AI is moving so fast that regulators have zero chance of catching up with it. And because it's globalized, it can just shift and morph. And so therefore you need the supranationals to do something about it, and that's going to take time. So there's almost nothing to do to slow it down. It's going to change the system. It's going to change how it works, and we can invest in it. So I think we've got 6 years to invest as much as we can, whether it's your brain power or your capital, and both, if you can, to make as much difference to your future as possible now. Then, when 2030, 2032, whatever comes along, you'll be better prepared because financially, you'll have maybe got yourself in a position where you've got the house that you want and some security. Now, as we go through the 2030s, in a world of abundance, we don't even know what money is anymore. So this becomes more complicated. So don't think of it as, oh, I've got my pile of money and everything's fine. It's more about my pile of lifestyle. Do I have the lifestyle I want? Am I protected from vast societal change? And so I think we've got 6 years to do that. 6 years before we don't know how to build a business. 6 years before we can't invest in financial markets. And again, 6 years is not an absolute date, but it's kind of just to give you a rough idea of how urgent this is. This is the most urgent thing. This is supplanted or changed my focus from, hey, everybody needs to be empowered in their financial journey, to you've got 6 years to sort your shit out. And so, part of a lot of what I write about in Global Macro Investor is this. And Real Vision is trying to take people down this journey. This 6-year journey is the most important time of anybody's lives. I can't stress that enough. Everything will change, including society around us, and it's not going to be easy to absorb it. But at least if you're open-minded, you're adapting to it, you're investing in it, you're at least investing in this change, as opposed to fearing the change as it comes. So get your heads around all of this, focus, 6 years, it's what counts, and make them count for you and your family. But one thing that does remain true is that humans are social creatures. And so I have a huge belief in the value of community. I think communities are going to be where our purpose lies. This is where this universal basic equity of owning a stake in a community that you belong to, whether it's an economic community or whether it's a social community or it's a commonality of purpose community. I think this is a really, really big concept. But generally speaking, community is everything. And one of the things we're really leaning into a Real Vision, more than the blockchain and more than the AI, is community. Because we want to get together. We want to talk. We want to be humans together. We want to engage with each other. We want to enjoy experiences together. We want to figure things out together. We want to share ideas, trade ideas. All of that is what being human is all about. It gives us confidence. It gives us a place in society. And, Real Vision, we're really focused on that community side of things. And I think businesses who do that have a better chance of surviving this.
Looking beyond this 6-year window, Pal foresees a future so different that we may not even recognize the concept of money. The goal of investing now is not just to accumulate a pile of cash, but to secure a pile of lifestyle that can withstand profound societal change. This is where the crypto-native concept of community and digital ownership becomes paramount. In a world where AI and robots handle production and knowledge, human purpose will shift to community, connection, and shared experience. He introduces the idea of universal basic equity, owning a stake in the digital communities you belong to. This is a direct parallel to the ownership economy being built on smart contract platforms like Ethereum, where value is captured in DAOs and social tokens, making the case that our future net worth may be measured by our stake in the communities we help build.